Hello, investors. This is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 4:34 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state, we are still in a mild correction, big old range. Take a look, trend gauge on the right side of the screen. Market leaders in neutral, still fierce rotation. One day one sector's up, the next day it's down, but some nice strength. And you had software that was bouncing off the lows today. You had Bitcoin, you had fiber optics were up having a huge day. Nvidia holding the 200 day for semiconductors, oil and gas, space, drone stocks, defense. So it's pretty good action in momentum today. See if it can continue. The Qs below the 21 EMA, S&P's battling right around. All those moving averages are pretty stacked. Medium term, same thing with the 50 simple moving average. The Qs are below, and then long term, we remain above the 200-day moving average. What happened today? Oh, that's a typo there. But the main thing is the geopolitical conflict with Iran that's dominating the news headlines right now. And of course, that's going to bring some volatility into the market. But here are the final numbers. 21 over 21 list up about 3.11%, 16 green, 1 neutral, 4 red. Turbo 12 up a whopping 7.62% today, 10 green, 1 red, and we had multiple names up double digits. AXTI was up over 20%, same with AAOI, and Circle was up, 16, 17%. So that's why the Turbo 12 list was up so much today. Mag 7 bouncing up about a 0.5%, RG8 up 81 basis points, S&P flat on the day, Equate down 0.19. Tech closed the day green, up 0.13%. Equate down about 0.25%. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 10 basis points. Mid caps up 0.85%. Great action from the Russell was an open equals low. Closed the day up 0.92%. 60/40 stock and bond down about 0.6. GROTECTION up 0.25%. TurboTection down 0.23% on the day. Let's get into the inter-asset correlation and S&P 500. And again, continues to hold the low end of this range. And again, you know, the bad news hasn't been able to take the market lower. You had Nvidia having a pretty weak reaction to earnings. You have the war going on right now, but sometimes war historically is bullish. But again, so we've had a couple catalysts to try to break this market lower, and it can't. But on the flip side, we've had multiple catalysts to break this market out, and we can't. So for now, that's the definition of a range. And so just watch as long as this support holds, could come back up and then really close above 6,900 and 7,000 is the key spot to get out of this range. Definitely getting long in the tooth, but these can last for a long time. RSP, now this is trending, riding the 21 EMA. Nice. Qs, same thing here. A couple undercuts of 600, but continues to hold support down here. This is what you want to see, but again, in a range. So really, this is the true breakout, but getting through this shelf and back by the moving averages would be a good sign. Mag 7 trying to undercut and reclaim the 200-day moving average. Dow Jones Industrial Average holding the support zone as well, but below the 21 and 50-day. Mid caps relative strength, holding at the highs, building higher lows. See if this maybe is setting up for a breakout and continued outperformance. Russ 2000 coming right into a nice downtrend line here from the highs, has a nice looking flag, undercut and reclaim of the 50 and 21 EMA today. This was bouncing. That's good for speculative. Is this going to be a fake bear flag breakdown to an upside move? We shall see. FFTY coming back into the highs of this range, potentially breaking out. VIX, and so we haven't really got a huge VIX spike. Now, granted, this isn't a massive VIX spike, but this was at 23 today and came all the way back down. So if this can get back through 20, that'd be a great sign. Dollar can potentially try to break out of this little pennant, built in higher lows, undercut these left side lows back here and back with the 200-day moving average. Gold continues to move higher. See if this can, take a shot at new highs. GDX at new highs, relative strength, good action there. The miners still look great. Silver, pretty choppy in a range here as well, but back above the moving averages. Bitcoin, good sign to see this bouncing. And I mentioned in a video, is this going to be a failed bear flag breakdown into an upside bounce? So that's just really good for speculative, right? Bitcoin started to get weak before most things did, and had a heap. This is a big decline, and now it's starting to show signs of bottoming out. Bonds gap down, TLT rates moving a little bit higher, and on back to the Bitcoin chart. And there's another sector that has a very similar chart that has been having very tight correlation, and this is software. Very similar setup, potentially fat false breakdown right here, and see if this can go. This would just be good for tech if software can start to bounce, good for risk on sentiment, and just generally good for the market, and see if these can continue their strength. But definitely stood out today. All right, let's get into the towel of the tape. Let's see. Friday we have the employment numbers. Today's keys. S&P is just right around cluster moving averages. Qs are below. Small cap showing RS, and want to see VIX close below 20. That'd be a really good sign. It would help that ATR, the S&P 500, come down because 1.28 is quite high, and that's why if you're finding frustration in the stocks that you're trading, it just means the stocks are going to be moving a lot more, right? A 10% ATR name is gonna could be moving 15%. And if you're oversizing these, you're gonna get stopped out because the market for the last couple weeks to months has been buy support, sell resistance as we've been in a big range. 2 days consolidation, about 2 days below the 8 and 21 EMA. Sectors wise, oil and gas obviously got the gap up with the news over the weekend. Did fade quite a bit of it though. Bitcoin and software, UFO, space, rare earth metals, XARs, the aerospace and defense ETF, energy, and regional banks. Weakness, home builders were weak today. Silver down about 4%. Airlines, healthcare, and staples. Good to see staples down. You know, uh, when staples are ripping, that typically isn't good for tech. And now they've had a big run this year, so maybe if they pull back, that could coincide with tech bouncing back up. GROTECTION today sold the hedge, the SQQQ hedge, and then trimmed Micron RVAB 1.17 estimated balance at risk minus 4.37%. TurboTaxation sold Toll Brothers 1.64 RVAB minus 5.41% estimated balance at risk. Bottom line, geopolitical conflict with Iran, leaders and indexes hold strong. Let's get into some charts. All right. All right, GROTECTION sold the SQQQ. Just take a look at the Qs, right? Gap down and then put a nice oops reversal. And then also trend Micron did end up closing back above 400 and undercut and reclaimed the 21 EMA. TurboTaxation, I sold Toll Brothers, just, had this nice breakout of a nice base, had a nice move, had earnings, and then came down. Just no performance, lagging, and home builders don't really have any momentum right now. So we'll revisit this maybe if it sets up again. All right, 21 over 21 list. Coherent fiber optics were up huge today. And there's an investment by NVIDIA into Coherent and Lumentum. And look at this move, up 15.5%, new highs. Fastly, this is owned in both portfolios. Beautiful day. Coming out of this, breaking out of this high tight flag, up about 11%. MP worth watching. This is trying to come against a pretty big downtrend line from the highs going all the way back into last year. And you have that moving average cluster with all the 2150 200-day all coiled up, so maybe this gets a move here. BE super choppy, right? Like look, just this is like it's very choppy. That's the best way I can describe it. But undercut the 21 EMA and that 150 pivot. CCJ uranium was a highlight today. Don owns this in GROTECTION, a nice move out of this little base. Take a look at the ETFs. URNM, really nice setup. URA looks good as well. Uranium, it's got a nice big story, so one to keep a watch for. CCJ is like the institutional liquid leader. We have one of the more high beta names in the Turbo 12 that we added that I'll show when I get into that list. LNG, big move here, another oil and gas name coming up the right side. GLW, another optics name, so strong, just riding the 21 EMA higher and forming another kind of high type flag, whatever you want to call it. But it's been reacting well from these patterns, as you can see. PSX, another oil and gas name, strong day up almost 4%. Generac, some of these power electrical equipment names, strong. This one's building after a really nice earnings gap coming out of a huge base as well. Keys building after a really nice earnings gap as well. Just can as long as it holds these lows, it's in good shape. Teradyne, nice, nice hammer, oops reversal. Still holding above the 21 EMA and this 300 level. We've been owning this in turbo since back here, so quite some time, and this has just been a great trender since we bought. Besides this, hasn't had a close below the 21 EMA or touched it. Sienna continuing higher in the optic space. Caterpillar, nice hammer here off the 21 EMA. Good flag building out. VRT, another one holding up really strong after this earnings gap. GE Vernova, another electrical power name, continues to move higher, looks great. TT breaking this down trend line in this flag, nice double bottom base. Micron, undercut and reclaim of the 21. ILF, undercut and reclaim of the 21. Brazil's another one. There's a lot of Brazil exposure in ILF, and EWZ is just the Brazil ETF, and you can see very similar chart. Copper holding up well after this strong move, potentially starts to flag out a little here. FTI holding up well. Sandus as well. Potentially you could argue this is a VCP, first contraction, second contraction, and now this third contraction just kind of needs a spark to, break out. But another high type flag, this name is forming. Turbo 12, AXTI, the high beta name in fiber optics. Been watching this for a while, and just it's a tough one to buy. It's very volatile. It has a huge ATR, but can't deny the monster move that this thing has had. You can see this weekly. Just look at it's been riding the 10-week moving average higher and having another 22% day. AAOI, another fiber optics name, had a huge earnings gap and another huge day two, up 22%. Circle, one to watch. They had an earnings report, earnings gap right here on big volume, 2-day little tight range, and now this is reclaiming the 100-day moving average. And this one looks good, off the bottom, but it's good proxy to watch for crypto. And I believe in their earnings calls, they talked about some AI agents, which might be sparking the momentum. Quadruple U, this is a high beta play on uranium. Really nice cup and handle base that this one's building right here. Back above all the moving averages. Choppy, wide ranges, but nice chart. Planet Labs, another nice move in space today, coming out, breaking out of this range. Seeing some momentum come back in there. Modine, nice day today. Continues to hold above the 21 EMA. REMX hitting new closing highs today. LBRT, strong action in oil and gas. SOLS looks like a nice little shake and bake it had last week. Now see if this can break out. This is a Honeywell spinoff, and so look at Honeywell, right? Really strong move. And you can see they got nice buzzwords: semiconductor materials, fibers, healthcare, packaging. FCX, the institutional leader in copper, holding up really well. See if this can get through 70. And then Jazz, this is a medical name that had a nice earnings gap, forming a flag here. And then Qnity had a big move on earnings, closed, in the lower end of the range, but still flagging decently. Let's see, other things notable: UFO, right, in space, nice move here. Rocket Labs, another good one, and I showed Planet Labs. Uranium, covered that, and then copper. Some other names saw FCX and COPX, but SCCO. This is another one. And another important one, not copper, but NVIDIA, putting an oops reversal off the 200-day moving average. That's good. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see this name fall apart. And then some other, power names, BWXT, nice base here that it's setting up for. TMDX. This one also has a really nice base that's potentially looking to break out of. Take a look at energy, gapped up and kind of faded. XOP is another one. OIH, something to watch. Maybe this was already priced in, as these have had super strong moves. We'll see. XOM, another decent size reversal. And memory stocks like Micron, Sandisk were really the laggards today. But again, they're setting up flags, so they might break out later this week. So all in all, though, really the bottom line after today is no one knew how the market was going to react after the news over the weekend with conflict with Iran. But the bottom line is the S&P 500 closed flat, the Nasdaq closed green, and same with the Russell 2000. So the market is telling you that it is not really that concerned about it. And, it's important to follow the news, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what the market reaction is. You can have your bias, you can have your thesis on what you think the market should do, but the only thing that matters is price. So that is going to wrap it. As always, I'd like to hear from you. My email is if you're interested in becoming a client, you can reach out to me at connor@revereasset.com. Find me on Twitter at ConnorJBates _. My DMs are also open there. Phone is 855 Real Wealth, 855-732-5932. Guys, enjoyed the video. Give it a like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching and have a great night.